Namaskar, hello and welcome back guys. So I was looking forward to make a video on Yeti Group, which has been benefiting from its ties with different political figures. So on this same note, what had happened was uh, I was going through a research, and then this article, which is written by Republica by Sunil Sapkoda, is what I found was very in depth. And then let's look at what has happened in this. Basically, the relationship of Yeti Holdings with Prime Minister KP Oli and how it has benefited the group. So basically, they have owned Kongde View Resort, Patibara Cable Car Project, NCP Office on Property meant for Pasang Lambu Foundation, Gokarna Forest, and then they are also planning to run a restaurant at Lomjung Kokcha in Naraniti Palace. And then the building which is just in front of the Naraniti Palace, which was supposed to be in the name of Nepal Trust property, is being leased by Yeti Holding. And then let's look at it how they have managed to secure all these properties for themselves. So the Yeti Group has managed to transfer the ownership inside the Sagarmatha National Park to its name to establish Kongde View Resort. A total of 52 ropanis of land inside the UNESCO World Heritage Site was awarded to the group as a Supreme Court decision on Bhadra 5, 2074 was in their favor. So Supreme Court itself has awarded them. Earlier on Aside 23 2066, CIA, which is Commission for the Investigation of Abuse of Authority, had instructed the Land Revenue Office Solukhumbu to bring the land under government ownership. The ownership of the disputed land was transferred to Sonam Lakpa Sherpa, the chairman of Yeti Group, from Dadiri and Lakpa Tenzing Sherpa. The writ petition was filed by Sherpa family in the Supreme Court following a decision of Solukhumbu Revenue Office to bring the land under government ownership. The Supreme Court awarded the land to Sherpa family. Okay, so even the institutions of democracy are also being overtaken by political party, because the figures, or like the people that come into Supreme Court, are actually being appointed by political parties. So of course they will have to do that. So if you are being promoted to a chief justice, so you'll have to make some decisions in my favor, right? So that's how the give and take situations occur, I guess. So Patibara cable car, and then Patibara cable car. So this is also another interesting story, how they actually happen to get that Patibara cable car, and then how they actually manipulated using their political muscle to actually uh, move the place of construction itself. So let's look at it. So in its June issue, so Himal Patrika had written, it's still unknown why late tourism minister Ravindra Adhikari flew to assess the feasibility of Sunananda Airport in Terathum in February. Minister Adhikari and the team were flown to Terathum in a helicopter of Dynasty Airlines, which is also a subsidiary of Yeti Group. Before the helicopter crashed in Patibara, where all passengers and crew members died, Minister Adhikari had said in Sundata, I am here because Prime Minister wanted. Okay, so see, I am here because Prime Minister wanted. It was reported that Yeti Group wanted to appraise the minister of the 2.5 kilometers long Patibara Darshan cable car project, for which the group had secured permission. The 56th report of the Office of Auditor General stated that 80 years lease agreement was illegal. So even in case of Nepal Trust, they had said illegal, but in this case also they have said illegal. So Republica has found that Phunglen municipality of Paplejung granted permission to operate Pathivara Devi Darshan Cable Car Private Limited owned by Yeti Group. So Phungling municipality, Taplejung granted permission to operate Pathivara Devi Darshan cable car. Okay, the project joins Pathivara temple from Kafle party. The municipality granted the award without publishing it in local gazette. So, as per Public Procurement Act, they should have actually published it in local gazette, and then it should have been an open competition. Whereas they have given them just like that, arbitrary. Clause 1023 of Local Government Implementation Act 2074 requires that local governments should publish locally enacted laws in their respective gazettes, and without the publication, the laws cannot be implemented. Okay, so in Shravan, so let's look at the timeline. So in Shravan 20x4, the first municipal assembly of the municipality had granted the permission. However, documents show that the company registered its application only on Jester 9 2075. So the first municipal assembly of municipality had granted permission in 2074 Shravan, but the company had registered its application only on Jet 9 2075, 10 months after the assembly decision. A letter of permission was issued on Jester 14th 2075 for 80 years, with the current 40 years permission to be extended later to another 40 years. So there is a option to extend it for another 40 years, which probably they might do it if it is beneficial to them. So Yeti Group has used its political influence and managed to shift the cable car project to Ministry of Federal Affairs and General Administration from Ministry of Physical Infrastructure and Transportation. So they have shifted the whole project from physical infrastructure and transportation into Federal Affairs and General Administration. See what they are capable of. The project was shifted into another ministry following an application of the company to local government. So just for that purpose, they have shifted the whole, basically, the department which controls itself. So see what they are capable of. And then illegal appointment of board members at Nepal Trust. So let's look at Nepal Trust. So what has happened in Nepal Trust? So, a provision in Nepal Trust Clause 7 clearly mentions that anyone with conflict of interest should not be appointed to the boards, right? So that happens with every organization. So it's basically an ethical thing as well. However, the Yeti Group's Sitaram Sapkota was appointed to the board on 17th Baisak 2076. Sapkota is a marketing chief at Altitude Air, which is, of course, a subsidiary of Yeti Group. Another board member, Yangzom Sherpa, is a close friend of late Angchering Sherpa, according to a source at the trust. So Yangzom Sherpa is also a close friend of Angchering Sherpa. So before appointing the members at Nepal Trust Board, the government amended the act paving the way for such appointments. So legally it was not allowed that the appointment were to be made as such, but they changed the law itself. So see the extent to which they can go just to benefit their own interest. Deputy Prime Minister Ishwar Pokhrel currently chairs the board with 6 other members, 3 of whom are appointed by government. Okay, so Ishwar Pokhrel and then with 6 others. So a secretary from Office of Prime Ministers and Council of Ministers, and executive secretary of Nepal Trust. A joint secretary of the trust who acts as a member secretary are the ex officio members of the board. Okay, so as per the earlier provision, so before this, the provision was that the board would be chaired by Home Minister and the government's chief secretary would be vice chair, and other members were secretaries from 5 different ministries, and 4 members nominated by the government, and executive secretary of the trust, who also remained a member secretary. And then, due to this change in provision, secretaries of uh, ministry had boycotted various meetings as well, uh, just to protest against it as a silent resistance against the prime minister's instruction. But the current provision allows prime minister to appoint cabinet ministers and other independent members to the board as per his will. So the current members include Hari Paudel, secretary at the OPMCM, and then Gajendra Thakur, and then 3 others independent members appointed by government, whom are they? Sitaram Sapkota, who is also a marketing head at subsidiary of Yeti, and then Yamzum Sherpa, who is also a close friend of late Ang Chering, right? So see, the board itself has been changed. And then again, you know about the saga of Gokarna resorts. What has happened was the government has recently extended the lease for another 25 years. So the government has extended the lease period of Gokarna Forest Resort to Yeti Holdings for another 25 years. Cabinet meetings held last Monday extended the lease period of Gokarna Forest Resort for 25 years before the current lease expires in 2025. So, and it is also leased at substantially cheaper rate. So how much are they? So that's not in the favor of the government as well. So they are losing a lot of money, like by giving them at a cheaper price to the people who are close to them. So Yeti Group had been able to secure the lease of Gokarna Forest from SLM Suvir Brothers Nepal. Okay, as per the agreement reached between the Department of Crown Property, Royal Palace, and LM Subir Brothers on August 16, 1996. LM Subir Brothers required to hold at least 51% of its share throughout the lease period. However, Yeti Holdings has managed to buy 100% of its shares illegally after a meeting of Executive Committee Board of Nepal Trust on February 9, 2014, decided to allow LM Brothers to sell away its entire shares to Yeti Holdings against the terms and conditions of the agreement. So earlier, LM Subir Brothers was required to hold it for 51% throughout the lease period, but what had done was that the board, which is also influenced by Yeti Holdings, has actually allowed the LM Subir Brothers to sell it to Yeti Holdings itself. See where everything is going. So all the benefits are being taken away by Yeti Group, right? And then, so even some of the advocates, such as Kedar Karki, terms it illegal. So the agreement was made between Department of Crown Property, Royal Palace, and LM Subir, which is entitled to hold at least 51%. Hold its 51% share until the expiry of the contract. It does not allow for any changes for the Yeti Holdings to extend the contract. So there is no option within the contract, but they have still managed to change it. And then UML headquarter, even that is not even that is also being like even the headquarters of a political party, such a big political party of Nepal itself. See the translocation of UML party headquarters to Pasang Lambu Foundation in Dumarai also depicts the deep ties between Prime Minister Oli and Yeti Group. See, so even the UML party headquarters itself was shifted to a Pasang Lambu Foundation. The foundation is a property of Sherpa family, and the land was provided to the academy, which was established to honor Pasang Lambu Sherpa, the first Nepali woman to scale Mount Everest. Pasang Lambu is the sister-in-law of late Ang Chiring Sherpa and wife Lakpa Sonam Sherpa, the current chairman of Yeti Airlines. Okay, brother. And so Lakpa Sonam Sherpa is the brother of Ang Chiring, and then it is against the existing laws to establish the offices of political party on government owned premises or premises held by government to the foundation's exclusive use. So the use was given for a foundation, for a non-profit organization kind of thing, and then it is being used by a political party. You see, and then I don't know what was the cause for that, but still, it definitely shows that there is a link between the two parties. So, Clause 21 of the Political Parties Related Act 2073 states that political parties cannot take over or use public or community owned property. This is blatant violation of rules governing such land. It is illegal, says one of the advocate Om Prakash Aryal. Such properties cannot be used for any purpose other than originally stated. Yes. So the purpose for which it was granted, it should be used for only that purpose, not other purpose. But still, as you know, everything happens in Nepal. So in case of prime land, in case of Darar, so the Yeti Group is considered, Himal Patrika even wrote, Yeti Group is considered expert in making decisions in its favors with its strong political connections. The 77th report of Office of General Auditors had mentioned it was illegal to award prime land located in front of Naraniti Palace to Yeti Group for 30 years, incurring a loss of 5.5 billion to the national treasury. So the loss is 5 arba 5 crore. See, the loss is 5.5 billions to the, and it has been leased at a very substantial rate, like very low. The committee headed by the secretary of the trust evaluates the financial proposal earlier suggested to the government to lease the land for 30 years at rupees 6.45, but the final contract was made for just 1.5 billion. Just 1.5 billion. See how much they have been like able to get that. So, which also includes the cost of a new building. So they are actually getting it at a cheaper price, like that's nothing compared to the benefits they will be able to reap. So how much are they going to charge as a rental in that particular place? And in the weekly Himal Khabar Patrika even added government has not given due attention to the suggestion of Office of Auditor General. The CIA also provided a clean sheet to the deal saying no irregularities were found in the lease deal. As you know, who is controlled by CIA, who are appointed by who are appointed as the chief of CIA, of course, the government. So every political institution has been appointed or has been influenced by the government to fulfill its own self-interest or to the self-interest of its parties, like of its party members, you can say. The Trust Act was also amended to benefit the businessman with a new provision that allows the trust to utilize its property for the purpose of tourism and business. See, the earlier provision in the act allowed the use of property for academic and education institutions only, but now they have changed it to the use of it has been changed to tourism and business as well. So they can lease it. So it is an open secret that the promoters of Yeti Group enjoy excellent relationships with top political leaders. And then Gumba connection. Let's look at it again. So PM KP Oli managed his time to fly to Lumbini to inaugurate Gumba on Jet 4th this year. According to highly placed source at Lumbini Development Trust, the 14th ropani of the land was provided to Sherpa family by the direction of Prime Minister, who is the patron of the trust. This is clear breach of law and the public's trust on Prime Minister to protect, preserve, and promote the best use of public property. See? So if you have the power, you can basically influence a lot of things. So whereas the prime minister himself, who was supposed to be a guardian, whose responsibility was to protect, preserve, and promote the best use of public property, has not done it. So what can you expect? Administrative birth. So let's look at it. So again, a cabinet meeting held on Jan 24th this year nominated Dawa Futi Sherpa, daughter of current chairman of Lakpa Sonam Sherpa, to the coveted post of Nepal's ambassador to Spain. Final preparation to let Leti open a restaurant inside Naraniti. Thamserku, a sister company of the Yeti Group, has started preparations to operate restaurant inside the Naraniti Royal Palace. Senior officials at Ministry of Culture, Tourism and Civil Aviation informed they have proposed to operate a restaurant covering Lamjung Kaksha and surrounding areas. They said, adding that the Naraniti Museum is now managed by a development committee upon the request of Thamserku. Lamjung Kaksha was used by royal families to organize banquets during the visit of foreign dignitaries. As you can see in the picture itself, opening of Gumba in Lumini. So as you can see, so if you are able to get your hands on this particular article, you'll find it pretty interesting, like what the ties have been with the political parties and how they are supposed to be the guardian of the angel, guardian of the, guardian of the public property, but they are the ones who themselves are manipulating it. So that's it pretty much, guys. Have a good day. Until next time. Bye bye.